Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of the Thrive in 5 podcast. This podcast was created by a professional woman, that's me, for professional women who want life to be about more than just their email signature and who want to lose weight and actually get to enjoy the life they are working hard for. This is episode 1 of the podcast, episode 1 properly. I'm really, really excited for this. These episodes are going to be around 5 minutes. I say Thrive in 5. I speak quite quickly, but I also like to chat. So I'll do my best to keep these under 5 minutes or around about that. These are nice, short, sharp, actionable episodes that you can listen to on your commute, on the way into work, getting your breakfast ready in the morning, whatever that might be. And in today's episode number 1, we're going to talk about those January diets because it is, as this goes out, the 6th of January. We're all kind of getting back into work, getting back into the swing of things. And if you're anything like me, and if your social media looks anything like mine, you have probably spent the last few weeks being bombarded by messaging about diets and getting healthy and new year, new me, and all of that. And if you're anything like I used to be, you are probably going into January thinking, right, this is it. This will be the moment. This is the moment I am going to lose weight and get healthy and finally make a change. And if you're anything like I used to be, you're probably going to get to February and find yourself well and truly off the wagon, falling off track. And you probably are caught in this cycle every single year. So today, I want to talk about why this happens and what you can do differently this year. The thing about January diets is they are designed to fail. If you think about it, you've just spent December, the Christmas period, living your best life. You have been eating mince pies every day. For anything like me, you're probably eating your body weight in brandy butter. You've had cheese boards every day. You've had a glass of wine or 3 most days. You've had Christmas do, snacks in the office, feeling like you're never going to stop eating, feeling like there's no meal times, just food constantly arriving. You spent Christmas sitting on the sofa. You've probably hardly moved for that week after Christmas. And then suddenly January rolls around and you're trying to go from all of that fun and festivity and relaxing to cutting out the food you enjoy, cutting out the chocolate, going to the gym every day. That's a huge shift. And being realistic, how are you supposed to do that? You've got a full-time job that is full on. You've got meetings that drag on. You've got a diary that's full. You've got all of the life admin to do outside of work. You've got weekend plans, a life to live, fun to have. In terms of all the stuff to do, you have no more time in January than you have in December. In reality, you still have a full-time job in December and a full-time job in January. You have all that stuff to do, and yet you're somehow expecting yourself to have time to do all that health and fitness stuff on top. That's ludicrous when we think about it, but we all do it. I've done it myself. We go in and think, let's cut out all the foods we enjoy because we need to be healthy. Let's stop snacking, even though we actually need those snacks to handle the stress of a busy day. We're asking ourselves to get to the gym after a really long day of work or to get up super early and go before you work a full day. You're asking yourself to hit 10,000 steps when you're maybe currently averaging 2. You're asking yourself to cut out the wine that's the one thing you look forward to on a Friday night. It is no wonder you get to 2 or 3 weeks into this diet and it feels impossible to carry on with. Believe me, like, I get this. I have been there. I spent multiple New Year's days. I can think of at least 5 years where I did this, where I stood in the mirror in my pants. I would pinch that post-Christmas bloated belly that I had, that was meaning that I had to leave my jeans unbuttoned when I sat down. And I would say, this is it. This year is going to be the year. I would say, no chocolate anymore. No more takeaways, no more excuses. I'm going to join the gym. I'm going to join Barry's boot camp. I'm going to sign up to some app or fitness challenge or whatever it might be. I'm going to cut out alcohol. I'm going to do dry January. I'm going to go get all the non-alcoholic gins because that's going to be how I'm going to do this. And pretty much every year, by the second week in January, I was legging it to M&S on the way home from work for a bag of Percy Pigs because I'd skipped breakfast and had a salad for lunch and my blood sugar was through the floor. Or I'd get to Friday night and think, fuck it, and just have a massive glass of wine and suddenly be hungover on Saturday morning and miss my gym class. And I would just spiral every single year. And every single year, I'd feel like I'd failed. So I'd promise myself to be even stricter the next time the diet started. And then the next. And I just got caught in this cycle of trying to be strict, falling off the wagon, hitting the fuck it button and going again and again and again. It never worked. I never actually made any progress. And it wasn't just about the food. The food was a big part of it, but it was also the guilt, the pressure, the feeling like I could never get anything right. I'm sure that sounds familiar to you. And this is what I wish someone had told me back then. And I wish I'd had a podcast like this. I wish that I'd had someone out there who was saying this stuff, but it wasn't there back then. I wish someone had told me that losing weight didn't have to feel like a punishment. It didn't have to be miserable. I didn't have to hate it. In fact, losing weight shouldn't feel like a punishment. The problem with extreme diets, the problem with the way that a lot of us approach dieting in general is that they set you up to fail. They put you in a position where you cannot do all of the things that you're being asked of. And that's especially true for women like us, professional women spinning a million plates at once. We go in trying to do everything. And when we can't, we feel like failures. For me, I got stuck in this spiral for so long. And I know for me now, like looking back on it, is because I was a high achiever. I liked to get things right. I was used to being good at things. I was used to being good at my job. I was used to being successful. And what tended to happen was I'd go into a diet wanting to be successful, wanting to do everything right. And as soon as I couldn't do it perfectly, I felt like I'd failed. I felt like that high achiever in me wasn't a high achiever anymore. And I didn't like that feeling. So I'd hit the fuck it button and go again and again and again. I wish I'd focused less on being perfect and more on what would actually work, more on what was actually realistic for me, not some rigid plan that was inevitably going to crumble as soon as I had a late night meeting or a spontaneous dinner out or my train got cancelled. I wish that I'd stepped back from being that kind of all or nothing and instead asked myself, what's my next best step? What's the next best thing that I can do? What can I do instead of grabbing that takeaway? Like if I can grab a takeaway, or can I get a ready meal instead? Little things like that, I wish I'd understood that. And that's what this podcast is all about. That's why I'm here. It's helping you to figure out how to lose weight and feel great in yourself and enjoy the life you're working hard for without feeling like you're failing at everything else. So here's your first challenge. The first thing that I want you to do today is just take a minute, take 30 seconds once this episode is finished to think about the January diets that you've tried before. What worked in those diets and what didn't? And most importantly, how can you do things differently this year? Go and do that. And if this episode has hit home, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, which will be coming out tomorrow. We'll be diving into some simple, sustainable changes that actually fit into your life. So thank you for listening. I will see you next time. And remember, this year's going to be your year.